is the mesh of both of those things. Bobo was on this staff last season working as an analyst. As far as we know, his role was largely in play design, helping Monken script out the start to games while he was obviously, he being Bobo, not allowed to work hands-on with quarterbacks during drills in terms of running them and leading them. He was an instrumental part of this offense in terms of designing it, in terms of scheming it up, in terms of play calling, in terms of designing things and how things were going to look in that aspect. And so now he's going to take on even bigger responsibilities in 2023. He's going to be the quarterback's coach. He's going to be the offensive coordinator. He's going to be the play caller for this Georgia team. And obviously, Georgia fans know who Mike Bobo is. He was the offensive coordinator here from 2007 through 2014. He also served as the quarterback's coach from 2001 to 2014. And he was not all that popular his first time around in Athens. I was around for the tail end of that tenure. I can very vividly remember my grandmother not being too happy that I was trying to confirm whether or not he would be leaving to take the Colorado State head coaching job over Christmas break in 2014. That is exactly what he ended up doing. He was the head coach there for 5 seasons, going 28-35 there for the Rams out in Fort Collins, Colorado, before in 2020 being the offensive coordinator and interim coach for South Carolina, and then in 2021 being the offensive coordinator at Auburn. Now, the fact that he was only at those schools for 1 year isn't that surprising because those offenses weren't all that great. But I think the one key thing to remember here with Bobo and his time at both South Carolina and Auburn, those teams were nowhere near as talented as what Georgia has on offense this coming year. We'll get into that here in a little bit, as that's sort of our main topic here for tonight. But 2, the stability around those programs was nothing compared to what Georgia has around it at this point in time. At South Carolina, it was Will Muschamp's last year. There was a lot of talk, is he going to be able to retain this job? Is he going to come back? Ultimately, he gets fired midway through that 2020 season in a pandemic, and Bobo actually ends up being the interim coach to finish things out there in South Carolina. And then at Auburn, look, Brian Harson's tenure was a total disaster, gets fired midway through the second season. The first season didn't help out a whole lot, but it is worth pointing out, if they win that Alabama game at the end of the 2021 season where they were playing with a backup quarterback after Bo Nix got hurt, maybe they win that game, maybe things go differently. But the fact of the matter is they don't go well at Auburn. They don't go well at South Carolina. And so there are naturally a lot of people, scratching their head about this hire. And I'll get into a deeper story on this coming later this week on why the hiring of Bobo is so polarizing. I think most fans have their opinions on it. You can date back to his time originally as a play caller where I think naturally there were some growing pains there. And I think, that happens with every play caller, especially when they're doing it for the first time. I think that's maybe why Kirby Smart wasn't going to go out and hire someone who had never done it before, when the fact of the matter is Georgia's staring down the barrel of winning possibly 3 straight national championships. And this coordinator hire was an important one. And I think Kirby Smart has shown he knows what he's looking for. He knows what he wants in terms of going out and bringing in an offensive mind. And I think he knows what Bobo is capable of doing. And ultimately, there's a big reason why he's back at this program. And I think, look, going forward, you've got Will Muschamp on the defensive side of the ball. You've got Mike Bobo on the offensive side of the ball. Those are going to be guys that keep Kirby happy and at Georgia long term. Those are guys that have head coaching experience. I think that matters. They can help run this program if Kirby wants to, let up some of the reins or some of the responsibilities that he has on a day-to-day basis. I will point out there is one area where Mike Bobo is far and away superior to Todd Monken that comes on the recruiting trail. Todd Monken was not much of a recruiter. He did not want to recruit a whole lot as is. I think the move to the NFL, that lifestyle change, is a big reason why he is going back to the NFL where he was before he came to the University of Georgia, whereas Mike Bobo is an excellent recruiter, has an excellent eye for talent for the most part. I know some people are still upset about the fact that Georgia didn't seriously recruit Deshaun Watson when he was a prospect in 2014, and more people wanted to, see them take them instead of what happened with Bryce Ramsey, who was a 2013 Georgia quarterback recruit, who I believe finished with more career punts than games started. So I think, watching how Bobo recruits and elevates and evaluates this quarterback room is certainly going to be something to watch going forward. But